Thank you. GM, so let me share my screen. Give me a sec. Okay, I need your permission to share my screen.
I don't know where.
I don't know, it says that the host is able, okay.
There, now you are the host. You
Okay.
should be able to.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I did this share presentation to talk about this cycle. We're having one internal meeting per cycle. So this internal meeting is just after our office hour. That's the plan. So that's what we are having this month. Basically, what changes we are having from last cycle, like the frequency of voting, like for this cycle, we will be only voting for protocol upgrades, and in case that someone flags something in the forum. The second thing will be like it was the process to step down, like Dane and Alicia are stepping down from the ACC. I still have to get the address from Alicia to modify the members on a snapshot and modify the quorum. However, like there's not a big difference, like the quorum will change like one person. The third thing is the quorum for the snapshot space. Now is 13 people, that is the 60% of our membership. And for the vote that we have right now, we didn't reach the quorum yet. So I will show you the link later so we can all vote and we can reach the quorum. And the fourth one that I put 3 is the frequency of the office hours. We will be only having one per cycle, and that is according to our agreements from last internal meeting and last votes. So before going here, I had something else in the agenda. It's pretty short. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, so yeah, reminder to vote on a snapshot, to vote on Agora. Like last time in the agenda, I had this question about who was top 2 and top 3 in the Dune dashboard. And like A16C, like share this post that I already showed to you in the chat. So they are them. And they will vote directly on select strategic proposals. So I think that is something that we should have in considerations as an anti-capture commission. And now we can go back to the presentation and see like I would like to continue with the discussion from last time. Like we share this nice like post on the forum, and we already received some comments from Agora, from the foundation, and from Tali. So they mentioned different things. I will show it to you. So, okay, here. Actually, Agora already shared more information about their upgrades. So you can see the answer here. I will send it to you, the chat of Zoom. Okay. I cannot see it, but okay. Okay, I can see it. Okay, done. So you can see here the comments that we received from Agora. Basically, they say that you can find the things by itself, that it doesn't need like a specific API to access to that data. So that is important to mention. Like foundation says something about like it will be about, or what I understand is like it will be about the maturity of the Security Council. That is something that is starting this season. So I think this will be part of the processes according to the maturation of our own decentralization. And Denison from Tali, like he talked about a public roadmap and also like maybe a working group for governance tooling providers. And that's what we have. I will show you the other thing from Agora. Find it. I think it's Charlie. Okay, here. Here he explained more about how is structure this new upgrade for the governance contract and why things are like they are right now. So I remember I saw some comments in the chat about like we should have something about more decentralization in the governor contract, or I don't know if Paper Imperium is here. If you can open your mic, can be great.
Yeah, I'm here.
So sorry, I don't have like a lot of experience in governance from another DAOs, but I would like to know more of what you are expecting.
Yeah, so I mean, I think like in the short run, I think making the governor contract not like number one, it's easily supported by somewhere like Tally, who part of it is they need to make sure they can do that because they did just get some retro PGF. But like it's kind of we're kind of veering into non-standard setups at this point, which makes it harder. Which makes it harder to support. And like we had to do like in the most recent round of voting, like 2 transactions. It's like one to like the core governor contract and one of their like extra thing. And yeah, maybe they can on their front end have like some kind of like opt-in for this. It's making people vote twice, like even in a low gas environment. Like it's we're adding extra friction. Like I get that people want these additional features like partial delegation, but like we also got to make sure that you know it's not easy to get people to vote to begin with, and then we make them do 2 transactions, and then we've all been trained like, oh, if we have an unexpected transaction approval pop up, like don't touch it. This is just it's just not where we're going in the wrong direction a little bit. Like I get what they're trying to do, but there's got to be another way. Also, in the long medium term, like the OP token needs to own the governance contract. The OP token, I mean, let's be honest, it doesn't own anything right now. It's just a way for us to record our votes on chain, but it doesn't own anything, not even its own governance contract. And that's just that can't stand for very long. We need to get that fixed in the coming months.
Okay, cool. Someone wanna add something about it so we can maybe update our forum posts and we can have like a specific like requirements? Okay, let me see the comments. Gonna say that he signed 8 transactions today.
Yeah, if you think about it, you have each intent budget, it's 2 transactions. So I signed 8 today. Plus protocol, so it's actually 10 now that I think of.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how the implementation is working. I only signed 5, but mine is also through a multi-sig. So I don't know But regardless, if any of y'all signed more than one for each vote, then obviously there's something going on.
Okay, and Michael asked if partial delegation was a request feature. And I remember someone in the forum asked, like, I remember maybe 2 people, like during the last months. And Joxes at the link that it was required by the foundation. Gustav say that he's seen this circle around as a feature request here and there. Not anything official. Foundation requested, yes. Gustav say that it makes sense for bigger holders and institutional holders, where splitting the pack is not that straightforward. Okay, papers say that partial delegation was driven by CB's needs because they couldn't move their stack to split slot. Okay. And more agreement that optimist governance should control the governance contract. And I have a question. How does it work in other organizations? How, like, the governance control the contract?
Governance is supposed to control everything ultimately. That's kind of like the whole point. I mean, it's a range though. There are places where people just like vote on a snapshot and then a multi-sig like actually owns everything. And then there's those where the token actually controls everything, like the executable code, you know, should come from the token holders at the end of the day. That's kind of our position.
Yeah, so like for example in Arbitrum, the token actually controls everything. So token holders can change literally everything. The whole system is controlled by token holders.
And
With token itself, like the ARP token holders can upgrade ARP contract as well.
And this is not something that is planned for this year. I remember something about it. Let me find it.
No, not really. Like at least not to that extent. From
Treasure execution.
How I understand the plans, at least for now, is that the still everything is controlled by 2 out of 2 multisig, or 1 out of like 2 out of 2 multisig, with one being the like one of those two signers being the foundation, and the other being the Security Council. So and basically this body is supposed to execute on any collective decisions, but the on-chain voting does not have any executable meaning, at least from what I know. I might be wrong.
Okay, I think we mentioned something about it like last time, and the foundation answered that the governance contract should continue to sit with the foundation until the protocol and voting processes are more battle tested. And we view reaching stage 2 decentralization as the right target date for that. So I think that is in the roadmap, isn't it?
It's on the roadmap of basically every crypto protocol. Like simply this, you know, this roadmap is somewhere around undisclosed future.
So, from y'all's perspective, is the ask here to put the governance contracts executable from the token house?
I mean, I think the problem here is it's like such a joke that like the token doesn't even control the token contract, right? Like the token literally controls nothing. So it doesn't control any funds. It doesn't control any protocol upgrades. It doesn't even like that. That's the kicker is like, yeah, like all that could be on the roadmap of someday, but like it literally doesn't even control the governor contract, which itself, the governor contract does not control anything. So like there's zero harm in the token having control of its own contract. And it's just kind of ridiculous. It makes it such a meme, especially when you have like real on-chain governance at places like Compound and Aave and Uniswap and Arbitrum. So it's just like it's an unforced error, and there's very little risk because if we do some weird, stupid thing, like it can't hurt anything, it can't spend any funds, it can't upgrade the protocol because the token can't do that yet.
Yeah, I think, how's it guys? I think it's two separate things. It's so like we saying on-chain transactions via the voting, and literally what Paper Imperium's fighting for is somebody not being able to upgrade the governance contract without the token house's approval. That's the main crux of getting ownership of the governance contract, I would say.
Got it. So to upgrade or to do this kind of upgrades, like you need to have the approval from the Opal token house. Let me see. Okay. Some comments about they disagree with the foundation or we disagree here. It's quite sad to see this not being there already. Through valueless governance token, sorry. The first on-chain governor should support both token house and citizen house, not only token house. Okay. Okay. I'm recording this call and I will take some notes of this, but if you can help me to structure better the idea of the right things that we are expecting could be great. Like bullet points of the things that we're expecting as the ACC. Some ideas? No ideas?
I guess
Okay.
the papers like messages that he would like to at least for the token to at least control the governor contract, like the token contract, which makes sense. Like I kind of agree. Like I don't know the reasons why it's structured like that, but basically, I basically want to echo all the arguments that paper mentioned. Like if we had on L2Bit like the ranking of the DAOs, like this DAO would be stage 0.
Got it.
Yeah. I echo the sentiments, but I also feel like at the same time that I mean, like Paper was saying, if we move to this step, like at this point, it still means nothing because the foundation is really in control of what happens with the token execution. So like if we have gripes with the roadmap or the way that the roadmap is progressing, I feel like we should like propose changes to the roadmap, especially like considering like kind of echoing Jackson's point, like there's a whole citizens house on the other side as well. So then like if we formalize the token house without like thought to how the citizens house might come into that arena as well, then we might run into issues later on.
Okay, let me copy some comments from the chat that I think are important. Okay. So I want to know what happened next. So for example, if we put some kind of pressure like to the foundation to have the contract with the OP token, like what is next? Like I remember the foundation is the like institution that creates the votes too. So for example, what will happen? Like we will create some voting to avoid the double transaction, or how are you thinking this change for the future? And also, like I remember in the comments they mentioned too about like the maturity of the Security Council, and that is something that I'm worried about. That the Security Council is something brand new, like they start this season. So that's true.
I mean, I think my point is there's nothing to secure. The governor contract can't do anything. Like the token voting contract that we use, that we can't like post a proposal, for instance, because we don't own the contract. Like that contract that we use to vote, it does not control the protocol. It does not control any money. Like that's all still like the Security Council and the foundation, which basically are in a multi-sigs. It's like nested multi-sigs that control things. And that's great that they're taking that baby step. But like there's really no excuse for the voting contract, like the governor contract, which governs nothing, not to be under the control of governance. Like there's nothing at risk is the point, because the governor contract doesn't control anything.
Yeah, I agree. And like the fact that we cannot actually submit proposals is strange in my opinion as well. Like there will be much more activity in the DAO if we were able to actually propose something and then vote on it to at least show, even though it's not going to be executed in any way, but at least to show some signal.
Would you want proposals including like using the treasury for stuff, like those kinds of proposals? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, right now we can do it. So like depends on what exactly do you have in mind, because like what we can do right now is have a proposal that says, hey, we would like to use the treasury in that way. And the treasury is still in control of the foundation. And like I'm kind of okay with that, because it's also, boils down to the legal structures. So we can't have, in my opinion, from what I understand, we can't have an actual executable proposal that says, hey, let's send 1,000 OP to Ghana. But we can have a proposal that says, hey, foundation, please send 1,000 OP to Ghana. And why not? Like, why not have this ability to push the proposal and vote on it? We could even have this approval mechanism somehow built in instead of doing this on the forum. So like the proposal goes live and is ready to be voted on only after receiving 4 approvals from delegates that meet certain criteria. This is something that we could have, but for some reason we're still doing this on the forum.
I might have like a slightly different perspective, because I feel like optimism governance has been a little bit more focused with a little bit less noise from a bunch of random things. And I agree 100% that that's the outcome that we would want to reach towards. But we're still like, I forget what level optimism is. L2B. What's we're like a level 0 L2 as far as decentralization. And I feel like with the baby steps for the Security Council, with things like that, like there's yet to be a case where someone proposed something and the foundation said no, and they've been super open to feedback. And so for all the legal reasons and for the fact that we're still slowly but steadily moving towards technical decentralization, I feel like it might actually be okay to not have the ability for someone to just like make an executable proposal to send someone OP. At least until we get to like a more well-rounded decentralization.
So let's not have, like, I agree, let's not have the executable proposal. Although, like, to be honest, the reason, like, the fact that we are, like, let's say early is only our choice. And like, we could decide as well to be, mature. This DAO is actually quite mature in a horizon. But so let's not have executable proposals. But why not have, like, why can't you, Michael, create a proposal on Agora to vote for something? Like, why not? Like, what's and not executable, but simply that we can actually vote on it. You have to push it through the foundation. The foundation has to put such a proposal on for the vote. And like, I can kind of get it that like they want to manage the whole process within seasons and stuff like that. But like, that's why we don't have that much activity here, and that much, bottom up ideas surfacing the actual votes. The only votes that we have is on distributing money.
I think I kind of agree with Michael.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not money. Distribute governance tokens, not money.
Yeah,
This
I
is being
agree with
recorded.
everything you guys are saying, but the reality is that decentralization takes time, especially if you're going to do it right, which I think Optimism is doing. And it's a process. And it doesn't happen that quickly, unfortunately. So I agree with everything you guys are saying, but I would just say be patient and like, it'll come.
Yeah, I get it, but like, what does it mean? Like, what do we have to wait for in order to be able to make proposals, for example? Like, if I knew what are we waiting for, I would be probably more patient waiting for it.
Yeah, I think that's probably something we could reach out to the foundation and ask for like a decentralization roadmap.
I think that's something I could definitely agree on too. Like, eventually, I think we all agree that anyone should be able to create a votable proposal, and then anyone should be able to have a executable proposal. And so, what is the plan to get to that stage?
Okay, so like a decentralization roadmap for governance, isn't it? Because for the technical side, I remember I saw something already.
Yeah, it might be useful to review. I know they've put out stuff like that have been roadmappy. I don't really know what's exactly included in it, so it might be useful to review that to make sure we're not asking for something that's not already there. Or for those of y'all who have better memories than I, maybe y'all know what was included in those things the foundation has already put out. I would also like to see more like bottom up kind of stuff from the OP collective, like things that they're proposing that doesn't come from the foundation. I think that would be really helpful for the OP collective. Sometimes there is stuff like that in the other proposals forum section. I remember Polly. I'm gonna just say Polly because I don't exactly know how to pronounce their pseudonym. But they proposed something in other proposals that's gotten some discussion. Some other people have put some stuff there that has gotten less discussion. I'm a little skeptical of the idea that like making the ability to put a symbolic proposal on chain is going to increase the number of those proposals if they can already make symbolic proposals on the forum. And we don't really see that activity happening right now. Like, I feel like at least partly that's OP collective culture to kind of let the foundation do everything for us, as opposed to like trying to do or propose some things ourselves. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the matter.
Okay, so I wanna go back a little bit in the discussion that we had earlier. Because I think like one of the problems, like why we are not like so happy with the governance contract, that maybe if they did the things different, like we will be happy, you know, like, but because we have to sign 2 transactions, we are mad, you know, like because they create this way to do the things and we don't like it. So we wanna like in the short term that they try to find like how to fix this, like we should ask them, like, we don't want 2 transactions, we want 1, and let's see how it work. Or we should go directly to ask for decentralization roadmap for governance.
You mind saying the last part of that again? I didn't catch that.
Like what I don't know is that if we want something in the short term that can work, for example, like talking about the 2 transactions we are signing, like if we wanted to do something about it, or if there is a way that we don't sign 2 transactions, and if that can make things feel better, and like in a long term, like this decentralization roadmap for governance or something more complex about decentralization. Or we go directly to ask for the roadmap. I'm trying to understand. I will watch this recording later and I will do a summary.
Yeah. And I don't know, it might be that like, because it seems like there isn't necessarily consensus here. It might be that like the ACC as a collective doesn't need to ask for anything, but the people who feel particularly strongly about like transitioning the token to be in control of the governor contract, like could post something about it, which ultimately I think is healthy as well. Like for large delegates to put pressure on the foundation to do things that the foundation doesn't necessarily want to do. Like I think that's healthy for OP collective culture. But I'm not sure if the ACC needs to put out a collective statement.
I definitely agree with Chase, and I want to just make like a quick point to remember that we just because we have these meetings doesn't mean that we have to do anything, you know. We're kind of a reactionary force, and so looking for something, like looking for an issue to exert our influence, like I think we should try and avoid that and need to, you know, focus on when there is actually something that we stand up for anti-capture stuff, but it doesn't mean we have to every single week call something out. But I would definitely support anyone who wrote a post or something like that. I would definitely, you know, like comment and put my support behind that.
Yeah, it just feels like we're straying away from our mandate a little bit here. Like decentralization, I can guarantee you that the foundation is working on it. And I don't think it's really like our job to push them. I mean, that's just like my perspective. And I would just say like be patient and it'll happen.
Yeah, I think that I'm agree with you both. Like, I don't think they are close to the decentralization either. It's only like a process that will take time. And it will be good to have our input, but we should not be fractionary or, you know, like. So I can prepare the summary of this goal and I can try to take some like inputs and we can share it in our communication thread so everyone knows about our discussions, but we don't ask something specific. At least that someone disagree. Cool. So if there is not anything else about the discussions. Friendly reminder to vote on Snapshot. I have to vote tomorrow before the vote
And-
ending.
We have a governance community call too in 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, it's true. Okay, I'll see you there. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a
Bye,
nice day.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Thanks too. Bye.